Chosen one. Every time you were left out. Every time you felt the sting of silence. Every time doors closed in your face while others walked through with ease. It wasn't rejection. It wasn't punishment. It was heaven's secret protection. You didn't stumble here by accident. Your spirit was led. You were guided to this very moment because there is something you need to hear. Beloved, the times you felt invisible were not random. The loneliness that pressed on your chest in the night was not meaningless. It was a sign, a spiritual signal that most people miss. And today, I am going to reveal the truth behind those seasons of being left out. A truth that only the chosen can understand. A truth that will break the lie of rejection and uncover the destiny that has been waiting for you. But hear me. This message only makes sense when received in full. If you leave halfway, you will only carry fragments. Stay until the very end, because the last revelation is the one almost every chosen one overlooks, and it will shift everything inside of you. If your spirit is already stirring, if something in you knows this word is for you, then take a step of faith. Like this video, subscribe now, and type 1111 in the comments as a prophetic declaration that you are ready to align with heaven's timing. Chosen one. Let us begin. Hear me. Every moment you were pushed aside, every table where your name was not called, every group that moved on without you. It was not the world rejecting you, it was heaven separating you. Separation is not a curse, it is a seal that whispers, you do not belong here because you belong elsewhere. Think of gold, beloved. When it is mined, it is covered in dirt and stone. Before it can shine, it must be separated. It must pass through fire. The fire does not destroy the gold. It reveals the gold. Every time you felt alone, heaven was doing the same with you, pulling you out of the dirt, setting you apart because your calling was never to blend in. Consider Joseph, a young dreamer despised for his coat, rejected by his brothers, sold into slavery and thrown into prison. To men, his life looked like rejection. To heaven, it was preparation. Genesis 37 reminds us, what man calls betrayal, God calls positioning. What man calls rejection, God calls redirection. And what men throw away, heaven preserves for the appointed time. Your story carries the same mark. Rejection was not a dead end. It was a doorway. Isolation was not punishment. It was the secret classroom of the Spirit. The nights you cried were not wasted. The times you begged to belong were not ignored. Your tears watered the soil of your calling. And what felt like silence was actually shaping. Because the truth is this, you were not set aside, you were set apart. Set aside means discarded. Set apart means priceless. Look back and see the pattern. Friendships that ended without reason. Circles where you never felt at home. Opportunities that slipped through your fingers. They were not failure. They were evidence of calling. Hear me clearly. The rejection was not random. It was divine orchestration. Heaven made sure you would not be trapped in places too small for your destiny. When you were crying, heaven was carving. When you were breaking, heaven was building. When you were excluded, heaven was embracing you in secret. You thought you were forgotten, but you were hidden. And hidden things are not discarded. They are preserved. They are protected. They are kept until the right moment. And that is why this message found you. Because it is time to understand, rejection was not the end, it was the beginning. But wait, what if rejection was not only separation? What if it was also a signal, a hidden message wrapped in pain pointing you to your true identity? That, beloved, is where we go next. Chosen one. Every no you heard carried a hidden yes. Every closed door whispered of another opening you could not yet see. Rejection was not just separation. It was a signal that you were marked, a signal that heaven's hand was on your life, a signal that your path would never look like the rest. Beloved, rejection is a language, and only the called can read it. When others walk freely where you are blocked, it is not because you are less. It is because heaven refuses to let you settle where you do not belong. Think of a door. When it closes in the natural, most see loss. But in the spiritual, every closed door is a locked treasure chest. What looks like an obstacle is often a shield from what would have destroyed you. Rejection, then, is a divine code. Every no is heaven's way of guiding you toward the greater yes. Revelation 3:7 declares, "What he opens no one can shut, and what he shuts no one can open." The doors that slammed in your face were not controlled by men. They were closed by the key of David, not to hurt you, but to redirect you. Some friendships ended because your spirit no longer matched their frequency. Some jobs rejected you because your destiny could not fit within their walls. Some relationships collapsed because heaven knew they would poison your purpose. Rejection is not absence of love. It is presence of protection. When you were left out, you were being pulled closer. Let me ask you this. Have you ever looked back at seasons you begged to work out, only to realize later that their failure saved your life? That what you thought you lost actually preserved your soul? That is the hidden signal. That is the mystery most never see. It is like a shepherd pulling sheep away from a poisonous pasture. The sheep may cry, resist, or not understand. But the shepherd knows the grass is toxic, so he pulls them away. You, beloved, were pulled away. Not because you were forgotten, but because you were guided. Here is the deeper truth. Rejection speaks to your destiny before your ears are ready to hear. The pain speaks before the promise arrives. The silence shouts louder than words. And if you pay attention, every time you were left out, heaven was saying, "This is not your place, you are mine." The world may see failure, but heaven sees redirection. The enemy may whisper you are not valuable, but the Spirit declares, you are too valuable to be wasted there. Every no from man was a yes from God. Every time you were overlooked, you were actually being overseen by heaven. Every crowd that excluded you was making space for your uniqueness. You are not meant to blend in. You are not meant to disappear in the crowd. You carry a frequency that disturbs conformity. That is why rejection follows you. But do not mistake it. Rejection is not your enemy. It is your compass. It points you back to the true path. It locks the doors of mediocrity so you can walk into destiny. Think of Moses, raised in Egypt's palace, yet never truly fitting in. Rejected even by his own people, cast into the desert for 40 years. But that rejection prepared him for the fire of Exodus 3. Without the no, there would have been no encounter. Without rejection, there would have been no calling. The signal of rejection has always been heaven's invitation to intimacy, a call to step away from what is common and step into what is divine. And now the question rises in your spirit. If rejection is a signal, why does it always carry so much pain? Why does being left out feel like warfare pressing on your soul? That, beloved, is the next layer of revelation. You have carried a secret ache for so long. That question in the hidden corners of your heart, why don't I fit in? Why can't I belong like everyone else? Beloved, the answer is simple and profound. You were never meant to belong. Your spirit was never designed for shallow waters. You were made for the deep. Your heart was never built for small circles. You were crafted for a kingdom unseen by human eyes. You are like an eagle raised among chickens. When you tried to walk like them, they mocked your wings. When you tried to speak like them, they could not understand your sound. The language of destiny does not echo in ordinary places. That sense of displacement is not a flaw. It is confirmation. It is heaven's seal declaring, you are not of this world. You are in it but not from it. Think of Israel, a nation born of covenants, surrounded by empires yet never blending in. Every time they tried to copy the nations around them, they lost strength. But when they remembered their covenant identity, heaven fought for them. The same is true for you. Your inability to blend in is proof you are marked. Beloved, I know the nights when you begged God to make you normal, the mornings you wished the fire in your spirit would quiet, but heaven refused. Because you were not born to be common. You were born to be uncommon, not hidden in a crowd, but shining as light in darkness. Remember Jeremiah. Before he was formed, the Lord declared, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Jeremiah 1:5. Jeremiah felt too weak, too young, too small. But heaven replied, Do not say you are only a child. I have put my words in your mouth. The same word rests on you. You were set apart before you were born, appointed before you awakened. Your difference is not a mistake. It is your mission. Beloved, displacement is not rejection. It is evidence. Evidence that your true home is higher. Evidence that your circle is smaller. Evidence that your belonging is not in crowds, but in covenant. Every time you tried to blend in, your spirit grew restless. Every time you silenced your gift, your bones burned with fire. Every time you shrank, heaven whispered, Rise. You are not called to be like them. You are called to be a sign, a witness of a greater kingdom. And yes, the world will misunderstand you. Yes, people will call you strange, intense, or too much. But heaven knows who you are, and deep down your soul knows it too. The uneasiness you feel when you conform is your spirit reminding you, This is not my place. This is not my tribe. This is not my calling. That reminder, though painful, is your protection. Imagine if you had been allowed to belong, if you were fully embraced by the wrong circles, if you were accepted by the wrong tribe. You would have lost yourself trying to keep what was never meant for you. But heaven loved you too much to let that happen. So you were set apart. You were misunderstood. You were pushed out. And though your heart broke, your spirit survived. Your survival is proof. You were not left out because you lacked something. You were left out because you carried something too holy for the crowd to handle. Beloved, your entire life echoes this truth. You were never meant to belong here because you belong to Him. Your citizenship is in heaven. Your roots are eternal. Your identity is divine. And yet, this truth stirs another question. If I was never meant to belong, why does it feel like warfare every time I try to walk in my difference? Why does my spirit face resistance when I step into my true identity? That answer, beloved, is the next revelation. Every lonely night carried more than your tears. Every season of silence was more than a pause. Each moment you felt unseen was a battlefield. Your isolation was never empty. It was a war in the spirit. Beloved, the enemy does not waste energy on the ordinary. He invests in the extraordinary. He doesn't chase those already bound. He wages war against the ones marked by heaven. And you are marked. That is why your loneliness felt heavy. That is why your nights were filled with shadows. That is why storms followed your path. Because what looked human was spiritual conflict. Paul revealed this mystery in Ephesians 6:12. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Your pain was never just about people leaving. Behind their silence and absence was a war designed to break your faith before your destiny could break forth. But here is the truth the enemy hides. The warfare you faced was not proof of weakness. It was proof of value. The greater the battle, the greater the treasure inside you. Think of David. Before he wore a crown, he fought lions and bears in secret fields. No applause, no recognition. But heaven was watching. Each hidden battle prepared him for a Goliath in daylight. Your isolation has been the same. The enemies you fought in silence trained you for giants in the open. You thought you were abandoned. You were being armed. You thought you were ignored. You were being equipped. Beloved, can you see it now? The tormenting thoughts, the heaviness, the spiritual attacks, they were not random. They were strategy. The enemy saw your light before you did. He recognized your crown before you felt its weight. So he tried to bury you under loneliness and lies. But here you are. Still standing, still breathing, still listening, and that is proof you survived every battle. Let this truth anchor in your spirit. If the warfare was that intense in your isolation, it means your assignment carries weight in the kingdom. You are not ordinary. You are a vessel. You are a sign to generations. Heaven allowed the warfare not to destroy you, but to develop you. Every strike forged strength. Every lie sharpened discernment. Every night of prayer carved intimacy with God. What the enemy meant for silence became the song of your awakening. Think of Job, stripped of everything, alone in ashes, accused on all sides. Yet heaven was watching. When the battle ended, restoration came double. Your story carries the same fingerprint. Your suffering is not wasted. Your isolation is birthing a double portion. Beloved, next time loneliness weighs on you, remember this. The atmosphere shifts because of who you are. Resistance proves you disturb the darkness. Pressure proves your existence is warfare against the enemy's plan. You were not just sitting in silence. You were sitting in strategy. Heaven was training you in hidden places. The Spirit was teaching you to wield weapons unseen. Your warfare was the classroom for your authority. But the story does not end in warfare. Storms were not the conclusion. They were preparation. Because the truth is this: what the enemy meant for destruction has been activating your gift. And that, beloved, is the next revelation. What the enemy thought would break you has awakened you. What was meant to silence you has activated your voice. Every rejection, every lonely season, every tear in the dark, none were wasted. They became the pressure that unlocked your hidden gift. Beloved, diamonds are not formed in comfort. They are born under pressure, hidden deep, crushed by weight and fire. Only when the pressure has finished its work does the diamond rise unbreakable and radiant. Your gift was forged the same way. Loneliness pressed you until strength emerged. Silence pushed you deeper into prayer until heaven's whisper became clear. Closed doors forced you to create new paths, where you discovered what you carry. Think of David, a boy in the fields overlooked even by his own father. Yet in obscurity he was trained, fighting lions, playing his harp, worshiping under the stars. In isolation, his gift awakened. So when Goliath appeared, he was ready, not because of the crowd, but because of the secret battles he had already won. Your isolation has been the same. Your worship grew deeper, your discernment sharper, your endurance stronger. And your gift, the very thing that makes you different, was awakened. Beloved, do you see it now? The pain that nearly crushed you became the fire that activated your calling. The rejection that made you weep was the womb of your gift. The loneliness you hated was the place where heaven poured oil on your head. You are like a well that only opens when struck. Life's blows did not destroy you. They released living water. The gift was always inside, waiting for pressure to bring it forth. This is why the enemy fought you so fiercely. He knew that once your gift awakened, you would become unstoppable. Once your voice rose, it would break chains. Once your vision opened, you would see beyond the surface. And now, here you are, awakened, activated, carrying oil from seasons others could not endure. Your gift is not just for you. It was awakened for a generation. The fire in your spirit is not meant to warm only your own heart. It was lit to ignite others. The clarity in your eyes is not just for your path. It was given to guide others into theirs. Beloved, your gift is the answer to someone's prayer. Your story is the key to another's breakthrough. Your survival is proof that others can rise too. That is why you could not blend in. That is why you could not stay hidden forever. Think of Esther. She lived in obscurity, unnoticed, until suddenly her gift, beauty, wisdom, courage, positioned her in the palace. Her hidden seasons prepared her for intercession. And when the moment came, her gift became salvation for her people. The same is true for you. Your gift, now awakened, is not just about survival. It is about deliverance. Yet there is still one more truth, greater than separation, greater than rejection, greater than warfare, even greater than activation. Because the final revelation explains why it all had to happen, why every tear mattered, why every rejection was written into your story, and why heaven preserved you until now. Beloved, the last key is waiting. When you receive it, you will finally understand. You were never abandoned. You were never forgotten. You were always aligned with destiny. And that is the revelation we step into next. Everything you walked through, Every rejection, every lonely night, every silent tear has been building to this moment. It was never punishment. It was preparation. Hear me clearly, you were not abandoned, you were not forgotten, you were hidden. Hidden like Moses in a basket until the right hands lifted him out. Hidden like David in the fields until the prophet called his name. Hidden like Esther in the palace until courage was required. Beloved, you have been hidden in plain sight, not because heaven overlooked you, but because heaven preserved you. Preserved for the exact moment when the world would need what only you carry. Every rejection that broke your heart was divine redirection. Every closed door was a shield. Every lonely season was holy incubation. Heaven covered you until your appointed time. And now that time has come. Feel the weight of this truth. Your survival is proof of your assignment. You should not have made it through what you faced. You should not still be standing after the warfare. But you are. And the reason is simple. Heaven still has need of you. You are not here by accident. This message is not coincidence. You were guided here because your spirit was ready for the final key. And the key is this. Every time you were left out, you were being lifted up. Every exclusion was elevation. Every rejection was realignment. What felt like subtraction was actually multiplication. What felt like the end was a beginning. What felt like silence was heaven writing your name into destiny. Let this revelation anchor in your soul. You are not a mistake. You are a masterpiece. You are not forgotten. You are favored. You are not rejected. You are reserved. Beloved, the mantle on your life is ready to be revealed. The oil pressed from your pain is about to pour. The fire kindled in isolation is about to blaze. The gift awakened in silence is about to speak loudly. Do not waste what you carry trying to convince those who rejected you. Do not waste your anointing returning to circles you outgrew. You are not called to prove yourself. You are called to move forward. The wilderness was your training ground. The warfare was your activation. And now the promise is your portion. Receive it, declare it, walk in it. Say with me now, I am chosen. My rejection was my redirection. My pain was my preparation. My survival is my confirmation. Father, I thank you for the one listening now. I thank you for every tear they cried, every battle they fought, every night they endured. None of it was wasted. All of it was preparation. Now, Lord, release the fullness of their identity. Let them rise in boldness. Let them move in power. And let their gift shine for your glory. In Jesus' name. Amen. Beloved, this is your confirmation. You did not stumble here. Heaven led you. Now respond in faith. If this word resonated, declare it in the comments. I am chosen. Like this video as an act of alignment. Subscribe as covenant with your calling. And share it so another heart can awaken. This is your time. This is your moment. And this is your confirmation. Rise, beloved. Heaven has been waiting for you.